Thank you for taking some time out of your day to learn more about the Proven Optics financial management applications. Today, we are going to focus in on the Proven Optics cost model. Now, IT leaders today especially face more pressure than ever to not just manage their technology, but to prove its value. In addition to that, we have business stakeholders that use our technology that want transparency. We have finance teams that need accuracy. And IT is asked to align every dollar with strategic outcomes at every corner. That's really where the Proven Optics cost model comes in. The model transforms the manual approach to IT financial management today that a lot of teams are going through as a reactive process into a streamlined and strategic capability. By bringing this cost transparency capability and this cost modeling capability directly into ServiceNow, we can help you cut unnecessary spend, align resources with business priorities, and justify every investment with real-time and trustworthy data. So with that, let's go ahead and get into what the cost model interface looks like. Now we'll start here on a cost model dashboard. The idea of the dashboards is they're really going to help eliminate the manual effort of pulling reports and answering ad hoc questions in leadership presentations or presentations with stakeholders. These live dashboards really transform the financial analysis from the reactive task to a strategic function, allowing you to justify costs and optimize spending in real time. At the end of this presentation, we'll also see how we can push any of this cost data that we're going through here to other ServiceNow modules like application portfolio management or potentially even SPM. Now, a lot of the reports that individuals are looking for from a cost transparency perspective are things like who is spending the most on IT. Right from these dashboards, you can drill in and understand what plant operations in this example is actually consuming. How much are they consuming? When did they consume? And by what metric are we actually allocating, right? This is really that showback report that's going to help the business better understand not only what they're consuming, but how they're being charged or shown back that spend. This ultimately provides transparency back to the stakeholder, but it helps manage the behavior of the end user. So hopefully now they understand how IT and finance is looking at charging back so they can actually adjust their behavior going forward. As we know, a lot of people consume IT like it's free, but we obviously know IT is not free. Very similar report, but of course we can also trend that information over time where I could look at a specific stakeholder here in accounting, and I could show them their spend over the course of the periods that we've run the model. They could always drill down as well and see exactly, again, how they're being charged, in this case, maybe by ticket count if they're looking at IT support desk. Tabbing over to a more granular analysis, the segment tab really allows you to look at any cost as a portfolio or as a logical grouping of what we call cost objects. In this example, this segment, being our business applications, would house all of our applications. We can see the total cost of ownership of our application portfolio. We can see the SAP Financials is by far the most expensive application that we run today. We can also do unit cost analysis of any application per license, right, that's fully burdened. We can also see what is driving the cost of this segment, right? So understanding the cost drivers, seeing that my largest cost driver is labor, support, and operations, followed by some large contracts, platform, backup, etc. You're really able to start to break down the anatomy of that cost. And then equally as important, who is consuming these applications and how much? So going back to that showback conversation, where are my applications being consumed the most across the organization? Now, from this segment menu, if you wanted to do very granular analysis, you could actually go down to the cost object level. So in this case, let's look at that SAP Financials. So we'll stick with the business applications segment and we'll hop into our SAP Financials as that was the largest application spend that we had by far. Here we're able to actually look at individual application or service total cost, the unit cost, and by how you are allocating. In this case, this is by head count. It could, of course, be by license count or any other metric that you are costing by. You can also again see the breakdown of what is costing the most. So understanding the anatomy of the cost of this specific object, and then what value, again, it's delivering to the business. What services are consuming this application? What business units or customers are ultimately consuming this application? All can be done from the cost model dashboard screen. So now that we've taken a look at some of the outputs, let's go ahead and take a look at how we set this up in Proven Optics. We'll go ahead and hit the home button here. Now, right off the bat, we've built the entire Proven Optics cost model experience into the next-gen workspace experience that ServiceNow is driving toward. This really allows all of that model functionality to come forth in kind of a one-stop shop feel. And really, the idea is that IT finance shouldn't require technical expertise. This intuitive UI, whether you're an analyst, a financial leader, or an IT decision maker, you can confidently manage and analyze the cost without relying on technical teams to drive you through the product, right? So right off the bat, we have guided setups. So let's go ahead and act like we are creating a new model, for example. The idea of the guided setup is that users can get inline help text, and it's essentially a setup wizard for your cost model, right? So having this help text inline as you're going through, if you're doing a self-implementation, or if you're having someone like Proven Optics or a partner implement the solution, you are able to step-by-step walk through, get inline videos and contextual help as you walk through and complete your model. This hopefully eliminates some of the learning curve of traditional financial management tools and gets you a much reduced time to value. Right. Now, in addition to the guided setup screens as we go through the model, once you have completed this guided setup and set the model, you can actually go ahead and visualize your model via a diagram. Let's go ahead and hit a model that's already been 100% created. We can go back in further detail in future videos as to exactly the steps you need to do to set up this model. Today, really just an overview focusing on some of the model outputs and some of the UI capabilities. After we get past the guided setup, this is really assuming that we've set our segments. In this case, we have 3 segments. In a TBM model, we have our towers, our solutions layer, and our business layer. We have our cost objects. Those are the numbers that you see here. These would be those different potential solutions or applications. That would be my different customers or my different IT towers. And then the mapping rules are essentially how I'm directing dollars through the model, how I'm teaching the system what to do with my money. And then if I need to allocate it further, we do have allocation methodology that you'll see here in a second from the diagram. Now, the diagram tab really serves as a tool for IT finance users to turn potentially complex and dense models into clear and intuitive visuals. So really, here's how it works. You're able to, at any segment, come in and expand that segment and see what objects lie beneath. From here, you can also see how you're mapping the dollars from each segment to, in this example, customers. Right, so you're able to visually show how you're allocating individual cost objects, right, apps, services, capabilities, and how they're being consumed by the rest of the business very intuitively. So in this case, my search capability, I see that the cost drivers, what's bringing in the cost to search, is my voice, LAN, my network, and my online storage IT towers. And sales and operations is ultimately who is consuming this capability, right? Now I can fly out and I can show you how these allocation metrics are set up. Ultimately, you can allocate however you want, whether it's operational metrics like headcount, license count, utilize gigabyte, or if it's a proxy metric like a fixed percentage or a dollar amount, right? Ultimately, the system is very flexible with how we allocate. Again, I can get into that in further detail in future videos, but the ability to spread cost at will and visually be able to quickly understand here's how cost is flowing through my business. Here's how I've set up my IT value chain with my model taxonomy. Really, the ability to have this centralized insight can help validate any assumptions that you have around your mapping logic going forward and auditing it potentially annually, making sure everything is still true. But it's also empowering you to be able to explain to your end users how their cost is ultimately being derived, and hopefully empowering you to make better decisions for more accurate forecasting and better alignment between IT and finance going forward as you show them this type of model capability. Now, once the model has ran, and we can of course run the model on any frequency, we bring dollars in, we allocate them to the model, we run them on specific fiscal periods, best practice being monthly. What else can we do with the data other than what we've seen today? This is where being built on ServiceNow is fantastic because we can leverage this cost data now across any application that you might own on ServiceNow today. So in this example, we're looking at the enterprise architecture workspace, really around the app rationalization conversation. So we can seamlessly publish any of that app TCO data to this dashboard to get a single view for price, performance, and risk all bubbling up here. Now you can of course change your X, Y, and Z axis. In this example, we're actually bringing the application TCO in from Proven Optics, and we are looking at CSAT versus functional fit score. But of course, any of the other application metadata you're tracking around risk and performance, we could actually rack and stack here. So the application can raise its hand and give you essentially a quick picture of what you should be looking to sustain versus retire versus replatform or continue to invest in. Really, this capability allows IT leadership to make better decisions faster with a full context and full picture in mind. With that, I thank you for your time today. Hopefully this gave you a pretty good overview of some of the high-level capabilities and look and feel of the Proven Optics cost model and how it can help you make better decisions with your IT investments. Thank you.